and they will have to make a tyre change as well. Now, just to quickly make the point about Super Trofeo, they're all identical Lamborghini Huracans. You can have 2 drivers if you wish. You can race on your own if you wish. If you race on your own, you have to spend an extra 3 seconds in the pit lane. That is deemed to, if you like, level the playing field between those that drive on their own and have knowledge of track conditions and car for the second stint, and the 2 driver entries where the second driver is fresh into the car. Now, yesterday we had a number of punctures, and for today's race, therefore, for the second stint, there must be this tyre change, and to allow for that, a longer pit stop is going to be called for. So that is why there's been a change, if you like, overnight to the regulation. The man on pole position is Alberto Defalco, who suffered bad fortune yesterday. He was hit from behind during the run to the first corner, and Alberto Defalco's car suffered damage and had to retire, but he starts on pole and will be a man to watch. David Addison trackside. I'm delighted to say that as for race 1 of the weekend, I'm joined by Emanuele Pirro, and we had, Emanuele, a really good race yesterday.
Oh yes, indeed, a jolly good morning to all the listeners. Yeah, really an eventful race, and from one end I would like to say we can't wait for another one similar, but I'm not that mean for the, you know, I also wish some peace and tranquility to many drivers, so let us see.
Yeah, yesterday, really, the drama wasn't just racing, just overtaking. It was also to do with the late race punctures and people having some bad luck, which was a real shame for many. Jonathan Cecotto, a driver you just seen on the outside of the second row, but at one stage it looked like Raul Gutzmann was going to be the race winner. Then he had a puncture, went into the gravel. It looked like Andrei Lewandowski would take back the lead. Then he had a puncture. Kevin Gilardoni behind him had a puncture. So you can see why Pirelli keen that we have these tyre changes today. There is the car for third on the grid that Raul Gutzmann will start. He shares that with the Dutch driver Glenn van Berlo, and the story yesterday in part was the punctures late race, but it certainly gave for plenty of drama, and this was the man that won for his first Super Trofeo victory. He's also one of the few soloists, Max Weering, who did a good job yesterday to look after the tyres, look after the machinery, not put too much stress in it.
Yes, well, indeed, but it's hard really to say whether these punctures were due to abusing the tires, were due to abusing the curbs, or were due to debris on track. It's really hard to say, and for precaution, it has been decided to let people have, actually to oblige people to have a mandatory pit stop for the delight of the second stint drivers, because obviously when you start on new rubber, it's cooler. It's
yep.
more fun to drive. It's more fun to drive.
It could indeed be something that happens more regularly, we'll see, but that tyre change. Sebastian Balthazar there, lining up 6th on the grid in the car that he shares with Noah Watt. On the grid is Lamborghini Motorsport boss Giorgio Sana. He's with Gemma Scott.
Giorgio, it's a very impressive grid. There's a lot of cars, and actually looking at some of the statistics, the 10 drivers under the age of 20, am I right?
Yes, you're right. We have 10 cars in Pro, and as you said, many drivers below 20 years old. That's fantastic for us, of course. Are all drivers interested to be selected in the Young Drivers program? It's a program that is giving us a lot of success and positive results, offering to the most talented drivers to become professional drivers or factory drivers for Lamborghini in the future. So we are very satisfied, but of course we don't forget the gentleman drivers that are fundamental for the success of one MX series like the Lamborghini Super Trofeo. And we have also very positive news in this case, nice history like the father and the son that are driving together here in Monza for the first time. So are all, let me say, wonderful stories.
Absolutely, thank you very much.
Thank you.
One of those father and son combinations referred to, Donovan and Luciano Brivitiello, who had a troubled race yesterday, it must be said, but they will share today. 27 there, you can see, in the very distinctive Oregon colours, is going to be started today by Guillem Bea, the Spanish driver. Oregon team with a great history across touring car racing, won Renault events, for example, as well, and came into Super Trofeo yesterday. The point being made, Emanuele, by Giorgio Sana, not forgetting the gentleman driver, we have the pros, the Pro-Ams, the AMs, the Lamborghini Cup, so all levels of experience here are catered for, and everybody has someone to race against.
Yes, absolutely, and yeah, this is a relatively new concept in racing. which has been designed to give satisfaction to many people, a little bit like a handicap in golf. And actually I belong to the committee of categorization.
Okay.
So we have a hard time sometimes because everybody wants to be in the lower category in order to bring a trophy home. So we have to analyze performances very carefully to give this fair chance to everybody.
Formation lap underway. Let's catch a quick word from Maurizio Reggiani from Lamborghini with Gemma again.
Maurizio, of course we saw the cars running yesterday in the first race of the weekend here at Monza. They're quick on this circuit, almost as quick as the GT3s.
I think the value of the Super Trofeo is really outstanding. Here you see here in Monza, where it's possible to explain all the power of the car, you have a perception of how fast can be the Super Trofeo, and it's clear that after the decision that we took in the past to limit ourselves in terms of maximum speed is really to avoid that Super Trofeo can be faster also of GT3, and I think for a gentleman driver this is already an achievement that is outstanding.
It's incredible how popular the championship is. It seems to be increasing in popularity all the time.
I think because it's like to go to the gym and to prepare to be really good athletes. And we see more and more young people or people that are really gentlemen that they want to enjoy in order to understand if they are ready for GT3 or for other category. And due to the performance of the car, is really that they can measure himself with the speed, with acceleration, with the braking, and to decide if they are ready to jump in the GT3 category.
Thank you, Maurizio.
Well, my pleasure.
So Maurizio Reggiani talking from pit lane, and the cars then on this formation lap. Quick look through the grid then. Alberto Defalco starts on pole position. Jonathan Cecotto alongside him. Raul Gutzmann is on the second row with yesterday's winner, Max Wearing for company. Then it is the Johan Kran car in the hands for the opening stint of Milan Tikens. He will line up alongside Sebastian Balthazar, then Guillaume Bayer and Michael Dorbecker next, ahead of Kevin Gilardoni and Joseph Daruba. Next on the grid is Dimitri Vatsa and Andrei Lewandowski, ahead of Oscar Lee and Rafael Gianoni. Next up will be Renaud Kuppens, who won his class on the line yesterday, with lining up alongside him Eric Meyring. Next up, Cedric Leimer and Gerhard Watzinger for company. On the 10th row of the grid, there is Ashant Silva and soloist Oliver Freimuth under the AM Cup, ahead of Hans Fabry, and then starting in number 65, Anthony Porteroli, Donovan Privitello, and a non-starting Peter Matic, I noticed. His car missing from the grid. Rashinsky and Kumar next on the grid, ahead of Ray Calvin, and then it will be Holger Harmsen, we are told, to start in number 90 today, as the cars make their way up then on to the approach, the Parabolica. One or two from the back need to catch up a little bit, but they're getting there now.
Yes, they do. They will speed up and bring some temperature on the tires. If you remember, or if you guys remember, yesterday's start was rather on a slow side, which, it wasn't really ideal. It wasn't following completely the race director notes, and so they've been asked to speed up more, but actually the leading car has a hard time because the back of the pack is still not there. So let's see what they do.
Indeed.
Let's see what they do.
So the leading car then, the pace car as it is, will dive for the pit lane. The red pole position car, that's of Alberto Defalco, Jonathan Cecotto alongside him, and then on the second row, Raul Gutzmann getting ready to go alongside him, Max Wearing in the black and gold colours on the outside line. Alain Adon, the race director, will in a moment flick the lights to green. Any moment now, and away they go, and a good getaway by Defalco. Then straight away Cecotto tucks in behind him on that run down towards the Rettifilio chicane for the first time. Alberto Defalco goes one side and then the other to try to defend, but now we get to one of the real pinch points on the lap, and somebody getting it wrong under braking, Sebastian Balthazar, and the contact, yes, he rattles up on the curb on the inside. That could have been a whole lot worse, but thankfully they've all got through so far, so good. Powering now towards the Curva Grande. And a good start by Alberto Defalco in the lead of the race, because already he's just stretching that margin a little.
Yeah, this was very just. When you are not the leader, you have to look around you and at the braking point, and some people forget to look at the braking point. But it was a smooth start. The two front runners are two good drivers and hot chickens, so it has been good. They've been good. And sometimes if one is having a better start than the other, like Defalco and Cecotto, it's actually better for both, because then you don't have to fight your way through first chicane.
For sure. So, lap 1 then, Alberto Defalco retired yesterday with a puncture. Nothing to do, if you like, with the late race spate that we had. It was because of contact at the first corner that helped to shred that tyre. He leads, Cecotto is second, and then in third place as they come through the Variante Ascari, number 2, so Sebastian Balthazar with some very late braking got away with it. He's up into third place. Long line of cars pouring through, all trying to be fourth then, with Raul Gutzmann next in the queue, and the cars charge down towards the Parabolica for the first time. Defalco trying to get away, and Alberto Defalco for Target Racing drives on his own. He doesn't have a co-driver, so he's a little bit longer in the pit stops, but the pace of the car should be good all through the race.
Yes, he's definitely a contender for the overall victory. We have to say, you know, they start on cold tires, therefore the first lap or two, you know, those who, from one end, you have to take it a little easy in order to not to stress the tires too much, but you also have to build up temperature. So the real pace can only be seen, let's say, after lap 2, because to remember, you know, a cold tire has less pressure because the air expands with the temperature, and less pressure does not really hold the tire, and then the tire can deflect and have some issues. So it's a trade-off, as many things in motorsport.
Well, right now, Raul Gutzmann, conscious of what happened to him yesterday, is fourth, but he's lost a bit of ground, hasn't he? A good start by number 2 there. Sebastian Balthazar has brought him very much into contention. He's on the back of Jonathan Cecotto right now as the cars wriggle their way around the Lesmo bends. Now, if this battle develops for second place, it's going to enable, of course, the leader, who is Alberto Defalco, former class champion, to get away. But Sebastian Balthazar, who has been a single-seater racer, got to Formula 3 before switching to Lamborghini Super Trofeo racing. He is charging after Cecotto as they come now to the Variante Ascari. 5th, yesterday's winner, Max Weering. 6th is Milan Tican. 7th is Kevin Gilardoni. In 8th place, Josef Zaruba leading the Pro-Am class ahead of Guillaume Baer. And then in 10th place, it is Louis Michael Duerbecker. So the gap at the end of the first lap, 9/10 of a second. Alberto Defalco trying to build that lead, and he's doing a good job. Absolute bests in the first 2 sectors of the lap. And a replay of the start, Emanuele.
Yeah, I think the start has been given a little bit late, but it was good, you know. A not so good looking start is actually a safe start, because the cars are spread. If you wait too much, oh yeah, this was a brave maneuver, which needed collaboration for the guy on the outside, which is not for granted, you know. So wise piece of driving. Yeah. So if you have too many cars packed, then it looks very good, but then there's a risk of having a traffic jam on the first chicane, and yeah, it worked well. It worked well. You see, when you are on board, it's hard to have this so-called situation awareness, and sometimes you have to use your ears on top of your eyes, because your eyes, or even the peripheral vision, cannot cover everything.
Well, they all, with great success, got around the first chicane. Alberto Defalco is the race leader. He's getting away. 1.7 seconds is the margin. You can see there how he's pulling clear. But the race director is warning the leader that he must respect track limits at turn 11. So Alberto Defalco may be using a bit more of Monza than he should.
Yeah, track limits is it's really a difficult issue to tackle. But you have to be strict, because, you know, going wider gives an advantage, and we do not have the culture in motorsport to deal with these things. But if you imagine football, even 1 centimeter or 1 inch in your case of offside, it is offside. You got to draw a line, because sport has got to be fair, and you know, those who love this sport have to get used to these things, because you win or lose by fractions, and this is a matter of fact. I'm actually part of the track limits working group within FIA, trying to find a better solution to suit the circuits, because the best way to tackle this problem is with the hardware, so by making the circuits suitable, but the circuits have to fit cars, single-seaters, motorbikes, and it's not an easy task.
No, for sure. But we moved on a lot from the days of catch fencing and poles flying around to gravel tracks. Now this run off tarmac to try and scrub off speed, but the tarmac gives you that width, of course, to rather exploit it. Now, riding on board here with Oscar Lee in the Lippert Motorsport car, the Taiwanese driver. Totally cosmopolitan entry that you get in Lamborghini Super Trofeo these days. And right now, Oscar Lee is in 16th place. He shares with the British driver, Dan Wells, coming through the Rogier chicane. And now onto the power.
This is a very tricky corner because you need excellent timing in braking, perfect timing in turning in and change of direction. You can appreciate how fast you have to change direction, left to right. And also you have to position your car exactly on the edge of the curb where you have a flat part, because most of the curb is actually not flat, so it breaks a little bit the traction. It's a tricky place. You can gain or lose time.
Now there is Giacotto in second spot, turning through, and in third is Sebastian Balthazar, Raul Gutzmann, fourth, Max Weering is fifth. And have a look there at the class leading 66, Josef Zaruba. He's in Pro-Am, and that is second in Pro-Am. The Oregon multicoloured car twitching a little bit from the parabolica of Riembea. Up towards the timing line they come. Now, don't forget, there is the pit stop window in this race as well to factor in. We're a little way off that just yet, but as Alberto Defalco leads, 2.9 seconds is the margin that he has got. 20 to 30 minutes is the pit window, and Alberto Defalco is getting away all the time, as there Josef Zaruba, ex-Radical and single-seater Formula Renault driver, comes out of the Rettifilio chicane with Guillaume Bear tucked up and behind him. Replay here at the Ascari chicane of a spin. Ooh, and a big hit into the spin. Yeah, big whack into the wall. Who was that? Anyway, the car has rejoined and gets back into contention. There's Josef Zaruba, number 66 then, running in that 8th place. But right now, Alberto Defalco has got things under control because he's stretching the margin. Very different feel for today's race, because in many cases it is a different driver doing the first stint. They've swapped over from yesterday, and dust being kicked up there as somebody runs wide coming out of the second Lesmo bend. But Defalco wasn't part of the race yesterday because of his retirement with the damage, but he's clear by nearly 3 seconds right now.
Yeah, incredible lead. As we always say, the race needs to be seen completely. In this case, you know, you could have a car setup and a tire pressure more suitable for early stage of the race, or more suitable for a late stage of the race. But these are things that Alberto Defalco, being very experienced, knows very well, as much as his team. So I'm not expecting any drop.
Now, where's the next charge going to come from? Can anybody catch Defalco is the question, because he was on pole position and is a soloist, so pretty much he has got the pace to do this. But there are going to be battles behind, and in second place, Jonathan Giacotto. He shares number 7 for the GSM racing team with Kevin Rossell. Good scrap going on still in the Pro-Am competition, where here Guillaume Bear is chasing after Josef Zaruba. The margin between those two is only half a second. 10 minutes of the 50 elapsed as they go now to the Curva Grande once more.
Curva Grande nowadays with the chicane, it's with the first chicane, it's an easy flat corner. However, you have to not to scrap too much speed. So what you do when you are on board of any race car, you really want to make a round, smooth corner without moving the steering wheel too much, because even with a lot of power, you can scrap a fraction of your speed and momentum. So it is an easy corner, but you still have to make sure that you go through in the smoothest possible way.
Now there is Michael Durbecker, currently number 6, running in 10th place. And other class leaders, Cedric Lima. Now, Cedric is the leading AM, number 63, lost out by thousandths of a second on the line yesterday to Renaud Kuppens, so you're second in class, but Cedric Lima has a nice treat in store this week.
Yes, absolutely. He will be collecting his Super Trofeo V12, the SC V12, the truck-only hypercar that Lamborghini has produced and built, and in this project, and it's a super cool car. So whatever happens today, it will be a happy boy tomorrow and in the coming few days.
Yeah, he's been a loyal Lamborghini customer of road cars and certainly race cars, been part of the championship for many, many years. There is Cedric Lima for the Auto Vitesse team, sharing with Laurent Yenny again, comes over the line. And he leads the class with Rafael Gianoni behind him in second place, and Renault Coupens, yesterday's last gasp winner, down in third place. But there is Cedric Lima, and again the AMs enjoying this championship. Not only are they great cars that race at great circuits, but under normal circumstances there's a great off-track side, great camaraderie between the drivers as well.
No, absolutely, and you know, even if I think everybody who's racing cars races for pleasure, but especially in this environment, you know, most of these people really do race for pleasure, and track time is obviously the most important part of the weekend, but not the only thing. And I can tell you by experience, you know, when you are in a good team, in a good environment, surrounded by good people, you really have a good time. And the hospitality of Lamborghini, also thanks to the Italian food, which is quite good. Let's say.
I agree.
Yeah. So it's really a good time. You mingle together. You eat well. You talk, and I think it's a spot-on formula to make people experience a more than a good weekend, because it's a very high-profile weekend.
And one of the highlights of a Lamborghini season is the World Final, where you have the drivers not only from the European series but also Asia and America all coming together. So they have the final rounds of those regional championships, and then they all go head-to-head for the World Final itself. It's always fascinating, and a fabulous weekend where whichever circuit you're at is absolutely full of Lamborghinis.
Absolutely, it's like a Woodstock of Lamborghinis. You know, everybody together having a good time through the days, and
that's right.
Yeah, I respect those who don't like cars, but for those who like cars, it's like paradise. You know?
It is. Well, right now, this battle in the Pro-Am competition still going the way of the Michenek Motorsport car of Josef Zaruba. Guillem Bayer is tucked up behind him, and we're only about 6 minutes away from the pit window opening. Now, in a number of cases for this race, the faster driver is starting, so you'd expect them to do more of the race and stop later within the pit window. And look at this, almost nose to tail now, pressure being applied to Josef Zaruba. The multicoloured car behind, that in the hands of Guillem Bayer. So as Josef Zaruba turns through now, hanging on to a class lead, but it's a small lead, that is for sure. Behind them is Doerbeker, and then way back in 12th place, Andrei Lewandowski, who of course inherited the race lead yesterday after Karol Basch handed over the car to him, and Lewandowski kept it in the mix, but didn't qualify well and hasn't made good progress up the order yet in this race.
Yeah, but Karol Basch is the leading driver, so he will be charging up and benefiting from new rubber. So we can probably see how he matches Alberto Defalco's speed, because Alberto Defalco, as per now, is on a class on his own, and he's still producing best sector times, and is you know, his best lap time 47.4, and Jonathan Cecotto best lap time is 48.0, so 0.6 of a second in a series where all cars are the same apart from the setup. It's a remarkable difference. To be said about Cecotto, yesterday twice he overshot the braking, and once he barely hit somebody, and the second time he barely missed somebody. He was having some issues with the brake balance, so we were probably a little bit hard on him. Be careful, don't do that.
This is for the class lead, and Guillem Bayer is going to do it, coming into the Rogier chicane, through on the inside. That was very brave indeed.
That was good.
That was good. That worked for him. That was good. Around the outside, teed the move up on the inside for the Rogier chicane. And so now Josef Zaruba there, coming under attack from Michael Doerbeker in the white car.
And normally the Suspiri cars, they have a very high top speed. So I think it can be vulnerable. But talking about before, you know, a near miss in motorsport terms, is a miss. It doesn't matter how many millimeters, it's a miss.
True.
So you're always right, unless you're wrong.
Well, getting it absolutely right, Guilherme to take that class lead, and with just under 4 minutes before the pit window opens, another driver being warned about track limits is number 90, and that is Holger Hampsen's car with the team boss, Arkin Acker, driving it at the moment, the Attempto Racing team principal. So with 33.5 minutes of the race still to run here, coming up towards the timing line, number 27, Guilherme, new class leader, trying to build that gap. Alberto Defalco is now 5 seconds clear of Jonathan Cecotto, but barring a mistake here, Defalco is looking very, very comfortable up front.
Yes, absolutely. But, you know, let's have a look at the last lap times. Defalco's last lap time is 47.8, Cecotto 47.9, and so there's only 1/10 of a second. So Defalco built his advantage in the early stage of the races, but now let us see, because as you said, those who have two drivers with slightly different pace, you tend to keep the faster driver on board for longer time. But in the case of Defalco, who is a single driver, then you have to try to find the window within those 10 minutes where there's the least traffic. And it could probably be early stage of the race. So let's see how is it his interpretation of this situation, whether he stops early, halfway through the 10 minutes, or at the end.
And somebody going way off the road there, coming out of the Ascari chicane, all happening ahead of Raul Gutzmann. Now, was that a back marker, or was that Sebastian Balthazar who he was battling with? It was Balthazar with whom he was battling, so he's brought himself right into the mix as they dive into the Parabolica. Look at this, nose to tail there. They could barely be closer. Raul Gutzmann, the Mexican, back racing after his nasty accident at Spa last year, comes up towards the timing line. Is he going to be close enough to make a move, this long, long pit straight, and then it's really heavy braking at the end of the straight?
Yes, indeed, it doesn't look it gets closer. Actually, he's maybe losing a little bit on the straight. Oh, that's good. I don't know if you guys at home have the same perception as I have, not having driven these cars, but you know, when you brake, you're really holding on, you're pressing the brakes very, very hard. You are experiencing decelerations of close to 2 Gs, and you were like a parachute, you know, because the breaker, the later you brake, of course, the faster you go, but you do not have to miss the apex, especially in the slow corners like this. You have to be spot on. ABS is a big help in this case, but it's always an adventure every time you brake, making sure that you don't lose time and you don't lose the apex.
Well, Sebastian Balthazar getting away as now drivers are ready for the pit stops, because it will open on this lap. So for some of the drivers, they can come in this time, get that driver change done, and then run to the end. As you see, Sebastian Balthazar running in 3rd place, Raul Gutzmann 4th, Max Weering, there he is, yesterday's winner, in 5th. More emphasis is going to be placed on the teams, of course, today, because normally all they have to do, is to time the pit stops, check tyre pressures maybe, in some cases help with the belts of the drivers, but today they're more involved. They've got to do this tyre change as well.
Yes, absolutely, and you know, normally they're not structured for this, so let us see. Let us see, it's one more variable.
There's another factor to the race, as you see there, Josef Zaruba coming under attack from the Sospiri car of Michael Doerbecker, and he in turn comes under attack from Dimitri Gavazza as they come now through the Parabolica.
Let us see the top speeds. Also, the way the cars are set up, when you see the Sospiri car is quite high up with the nose in comparison to the other car. Oh no, he made it.
So Josef Zaruba round the outside of Durbecker, gets his place back then into 8th overall, but Sava is there behind them as well, so that was brave stuff by Josef Zaruba. Kevin Geladoni is into the pits to give way to Leonardo Pulcini. Andrei Lewandowski is in to give way to Karol Bash. Now round the outside goes Michael Durbecker. Again, that's brave. The outside line at the Curva Grande, but that is the inside line for the Roger chicane, and he's done it. That was good.
Very good piece of driving.
Oh! We spoke too soon.
But I was talking in terms of leaving each other's room, racing hard, but not too much. And it doesn't always work like that. But normally what goes around comes around. So if you show a little bit of respect, then you also gain some respect. And this is the best racing, because being close but not bad, you know, not pushing somebody off, can really produce good racing.
Well, there is a man that's rather lonely, has no one to race against at the moment. Alberto Defalco, very experienced Lamborghini racer going back to the Gallardo days. He's raced in Super Trofeo, he's raced in GT championships in a variety of regions in Lamborghinis, and as he goes across the line now, that margin that he has got is over Jonathan Cecotto in second place, still to be confirmed. 5.6 seconds. Jonathan breaks the timing beam now. Neither of them have pitted as yet, so that suggests Jonathan will go as far through the window as he can and off the road into the gravel trap.
Looks very much like a safety car.
Yeah, that is Gerhard Watzinger, and a safety car could turn this race upside down, couldn't it? Because they'll all bunch up, and a longer stop has to be made by Defalco, an extra 3 seconds as a solo driver.
Absolutely, and those who stopped.
Yep. They are going to be able to catch up.
Those who stopped.
Yeah,
and this is why, within the equation of deciding when to stop, you have also to consider the chance of having a safety car. Therefore, the earlier you put in the pocket the pit stop, the better it is. This looks like a contact, I would say.
Yeah.
This looks like a contact.
Possibly so. Number 70, Gerhard Watzinger. If it wasn't contact, it was very, very close. He's in the gravel, the American driver. So the pit window is open. But yes, if we do get a safety car, those drivers that have already served the pit stop are going to be well placed, that is for sure. So let's see how this all pans out. Now, are drivers going to stay out and risk it? Are they going to come in and chance the fact that a safety car might be called for? Wait and see. Alain Adon is the race director currently for Super Trofeo. Big slide in the background for Jonathan Cecotto as he comes onto the straight. But a point we made yesterday, Alain is the race director in the current absence of Daniele Galbiati, who's not in the best of health, and we wish Daniele well, and we look forward to seeing him back in the paddock as Alberto Defalco, the leader, comes into the pit lane. We're still under green conditions, so despite our fears, no safety car deployed, and Defalco and Cecotto into the pit lane. Now, 5.6 seconds between them. Alberto Defalco's stop has to be an extra 3 seconds in its length because he's a solo driver. So in they come, and that means Sebastian Balthazar now takes up the race lead by staying out before he gives way to Noah Watt. So Alberto Defalco stays in the car. Now, we talk about the fact that the pit stops have to be of a given time, but of course it could well be that they're much longer depending on how good at doing a tyre change the crew actually is.
They give you the minimum time.
Yeah.
But you can stretch it. You can stretch it.
So it's 120 seconds. It's 2 minutes to do the tyre change, and it's 2 minutes and 3 seconds for the solo drivers. Still, Watzinger's car is sitting in the gravel. So are we going to get through the window, then have a safety car, get it out of the way, and then go racing? Possibly, because, of course, if you do a safety car during a pit window like this, it becomes very, very confusing.
In fact, when you, of course, in a race car, the temperature inside is quite hot, and of course, you sweat a lot. But when you drive, you've got somehow an airflow cooling you down. And when you stop in the pits and sit in the car for 2 minutes with the doors closed, it's really where the heat wave hits you. And I bet Alberto Defalco is now losing some fluids.
Yes.
From his body.
So he's eager to get back out again. And he will rejoin close to the second of the drivers for number 7, which is going to be Kevin Rossell taking over from Jonathan Cecotto. So this is the view from Raul Gutzmann's car. He has yet to come in. He is right on the tail of Sebastian Balthazar, but do they come in this time? Balthazar is edging towards pit in, and yes he does. So Gutzman will take over the lead. He was really unlucky yesterday, wasn't he? He led and then had a puncture, and that was the end of his race.
Absolutely.
Right, there is Defalco, look, rejoining. Kevin Rossell is behind him. So they are in the same order, Defalco ahead, but the margin is reduced between them.
Correct.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Cold tires. Probably he hasn't been reminded.
Gosh. Kevin Rossell up the escape road. Clips the marker. They used to be round tyres, they're now square tyres in their shape. That was quite a moment.
Well, there will be some vibrations, which is not the only problem, because, yeah, it doesn't look very good. It doesn't look very good.
No, so on his outlap, Kevin Rossell has a big, big lock-up.
The thing is, they are not used because they used to get the car on hot tires. This is an exceptional situation, and normally it's down to the car engineer to remind the drivers to take care of that, because you might forget.
Now, to be fair to Kevin Rossell, who we've just seen locking up, you were saying after yesterday's race, Emanuele, that that car did have some issues with Jonathan Cecotto. Maybe those issues are still there as well. So it looks like a lockup, but I just wonder whether there's something more sinister.
I think it's only a lockup.
Purely driver.
Yeah. I believe.
Well, there you've got Sebastian Balthazar in the pit lane giving way to Noah Watt, and the Leipzig team will wave that car away on instruction in a moment. Raul Gutzman has stayed out, but that is not going to help Kevin Rossell's lap whatsoever. Alberto Defalco treating this like the warming up lap, look, jinking around, trying to get the warmth into the tyres.
Yeah, because also the quicker, the faster you build temperature, the safer it is, because then you build pressure as well, and the pressure is actually supporting the tyre, plays a big role alongside the tyre construction in supporting the tyre when heavy loads are applied.
So 23 minutes just under remain. Pit window is not quite closed, but the majority have now been in. So Raul Gutzman has come into the pit lane. The order continues to shuffle as a result of all of this, and Alberto Defalco staying well ahead now of Kevin Rossell after his lockup. And in fact, Rossell has lost out there. Look to number 2, so Noah Watt rejoins the car rejoins the race, and he's going to be ahead of number 7, the Rossell Cecotto entry, as a consequence of that slow outlap and the lockup and the mistake by Kevin Rossell.
The first 2 or 3 laps, say 2 laps, are really critical, because on cold tires and into the race, straight into the race, it's not the easiest thing you have to do in life. So, and they're not even used to do that, because normally you build up temperature quite gently. So it's really a new situation for many.
So Kevin Rossell, number 7, trying to make amends after that moment he had coming out of the pit lane, gets up the inside there, and there's contact, broken suspension, off they both go. Rossell is in the gravel. The other driver that's been caught up in all of that, in number 8, is the Luciano Previtello entry, and there's no way that number 7's going to get out of there with the damage done. And Previtello is, I think, struggling to get out of the gravel as well. He's got a bit of momentum, but the car is in danger of bogging down. It's a good job, isn't it, that the Vatzinger car was out of the way from there, because that was where it had come to grief. But now we've got 2 in the gravel trap.
Absolutely, and there will be discussions, because Previtello was lapped.
Yeah.
And it was an avoidable contact. It was an avoidable contact. Shame, shame, shame.
So Kevin Rossell was on the inside. Here we go, another angle. Look, he goes for the inside line. Is he ahead? Yeah. And Previtello turns in and clips him.
Yeah, very unfortunate, because Previtello maybe did not really see, and you're not expecting somebody diving in there aggressively. However, he was well inside. So, yeah, it's a close call for the stewards as well. But besides that, 2 drivers lost a race, basically.
Now, there's another driver with a pit stop under investigation, and it is number 90, Holger Harmsen Arkin Arca. And also car number 10 is being investigated, Ray Calvin, possibly for not adhering to the pit stop time. Well, that's the effective race leader, because Alberto Defalco has been the absolute dominant driver thus far, and he's still got 20 minutes to go. Well, we can cover that situation under a yellow flag, think the officials. No need for a safety car. So there is the race leader, coming up towards the Variante Ascari, and now Defalco trying to work his way through the traffic, and of course in many cases different drivers, because it's a fresh set after the pit stops in most cars. It does work well, this idea of having the 2 driver entries, but you can race on your own if you want, and that extra 3 seconds just to balance things has worked out well.
It does balance, but if 2 drivers are both very good drivers, it's not a match, because as we said, the 3 seconds are because the guy who stays in the car knows the car and he can quickly get back into speed, whilst the new driver who steps in needs a little bit of adaptation. But if the new driver who steps in is a pro, you don't need that much adaptation.
No.
You know, you can deliver a good performance immediately, therefore is a little bit of a handicap for those who stay.
Now we've got Guillaume Bayer, the last one to serve a pit stop. The contact between Rossell and Previtello is, not unexpectedly, being looked at by the stewards. But Alberto Defalco is the race leader, and now in second place it's going to be Noah Watt, the son of the former single-seater and sports car racer Jason Watt, Danish driver. Glenn Van Berlo is third. There, number 6 now, is the car that was started by Michael Dorbecker, and now is Mattia Michelotto. Yellow flag zone for the leader, Alberto Defalco. But you can see the damage done on the rear of the Cecotto car there.
Quite brave from race direction to keep the race in green.
Well, one incident up there attended to, and as you see Defalco now closing on the back markers, he is still pushing on. He's done the fastest lap of the race from earlier, that 1:47.482. And Alberto Defalco really disappointed yesterday to be eliminated after really only 2 or 3 laps, trying to make amends today as he comes then down towards the Parabolica. He's been the dominant driver thus far. Now, what about number 16, Karol Bash? Into the lead he should be soon of Pro-Am, if he can, on the pit stops, that is, as there you see him. So the Pro-Am leader, confirmed, comes into the Variante Ascari, and Karol Bash has always had good pace when he came out of karting through Clios into Lamborghini Super Trofeo racing.
Hat off to the image director, because he's really following us and how to say, he's showing what we talk about. So thank you guys, good job, and good on you. Oh, safety car now. Yeah, safety car is deployed. I suspect that's because the window is now closed for the pit stop. So everyone has done them. Okay, now let's get you all together. Let's get the track cleared, then you can go racing once more. So the safety car is being deployed. Yeah, good call. Good call. And 1 or 2 drivers are slowed right down, but who was that going incredibly slowly, coming towards the Parabolica? Looked as though that was Daniel Wyszynski and Pierre Faligioni's car. There is the AM leader, Claude-Yves Gosselin. So after Renault Coupens helped with a win yesterday, they're back at the head of the class once more. But number 12, very, very slow, that car. Normally you keep at a reasonable pace until you get to the safety car queue. But it's almost like a full course yellow, he's backed off so much. Yeah. So all of this counts, of course, within the 50 minutes. The drivers come over the timing line now. Safety car conditions. And this is going to bunch everybody up. So the likes of Karol Bash, Leonardo Pulcini, who are 6th and 5th, they're going to close on the traffic. I think Alberto Defalco, with his pace, should still be able to pull away on the restart, but it's going to make a really good fight behind him. Yeah, and Pulcini and Bash are really 2 good drivers, and when you see the lap time they delivered right now, it's 47.7 for Pulcini, 47.8 for Bash. So that's good pace. Yeah, it is. They will probably tow each other if they're smart into trying to catch Defalco. So we are under safety car conditions at Monza, the second race of Lamborghini Super Trofeo. But there, Pierre Faligioni is slowed right down, and the safety car crew are saying, go past, we don't want you, we want the leader, so you speed up. The way the safety car operations are done these days, when they're done properly, is impressive. It makes you wonder why they weren't done this way before, but the yellow lights really only come on
and the car only moves into position when it has got the race leader behind. Quite often you'll see a green light on certain safety cars, which means you're okay to go past, and then they flick to the flashing yellow lights, and that is the indication that the race leader is the next car behind and will have to form up, and we then go to a safety car queue. But quite often, certainly in GT World Challenge Europe, you'll see the safety car come out, and that will circulate with the green light on. People that aren't relevant can go past. So there, look, you'll see the back marker being waved by, the green light is there, and then the indication given, you're the one we want, Alberto. So the green light is turned off, and it works.
Good job, well explained. So we're all set. But we have to say, not always the rules are in line, because, for instance, at the starts and restarts, some championships, when there's a safety car restart, you can only overtake at the start and finish line. Some other championships, when it's green, same with the flying start. And when I was a driver, I don't want to say it's confusing, but you have to make sure that you know that particular rule.
Yeah, there are safety car lines, there are timing lines, and you do need to listen to what the race director says in a briefing, as you say, about where to go racing. Now, safety car conditions like this and the clear-up operation continuing, so we're going to lose another lap, maybe two, before we can go racing. But you see the drivers, those that know what they're doing, weaving around left to right to generate that warmth in the tyres again, keep up the pressures. And there is Alberto Defalco, who has got 1, 2, 3 back markers between himself and the second place car there, the green and black car of Noah Watt. So even though they've bunched up, he's still got an advantage because he's got this buffer.
Yes, absolutely. And this is going to be a super sprint race. Well, I still hope they can clear, maybe even now, because the tractor was quite clear. So race car is going slow. If they go green now, he has to turn the lights off right now, otherwise it's too late. Let's see, otherwise we have to wait another lap, which means another nearly 3 minutes. And one more lap for sure.
Yeah,
also because the other cars didn't catch up, and because they were a little bit slow in figuring out that they could pass.
As you say, it's going to be a super sprint. There is the other wave of cars that now have to really push on to try and catch up with everybody else. So they were the slow ones initially, trying to do the right thing, but now they're being encouraged to hurry up. That's number 8, I think, out of the gravel, keeping going, Donovan Privitello. Right, this is the view now of the man in third place, Glenn Van Berlo. Coming down towards the parabolica, and the safety car is going to be in this time. So we're on the last safety car lap, and there is the train
catching up. So next lap will be the one. So just to remind you guys, when it's green, you can the race starts.
So the lights on top of the safety car will be extinguished towards the end of the lap.
And then there's a green light at the start and finish, and the race starts, and you can overtake.
And we're going to have round about 10 minutes or so, maybe less, by the time we get to the timing line. Alberto Defalco, number 44, the red car, directly behind the safety car. He's the leader. Second is the Noah Watt, number 2, Lipert car. Just ahead of us, we're third. Glenn Van Berlo is the driver. And then it's Max Weering behind in 4th place. Leonardo Procini is in 5th, Oregon. And Carol Bash 6th, number 16, the driver that was on pole position for yesterday's race. And we know that Carol Bash is very, very quick, so one to watch here.
Yeah, today temperature are quite low as yesterday, so they have to work quite hard to keep the temperature on the tires, considering the tires are quite fresh.
So we await the lights to be extinguished. We've had the news from the race director, though, that the safety car is in this time. So we're getting set to go racing once more. The second race in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo for Europe. And there, Kevin Rossell finds a marshal's chair in which to sit.
It reminds us of a Spanish Formula One rather well-known driver named Fernando Alonso.
He's also found some something to eat and drink for the marshals who are being kind to him. Right, we go racing. Look, we go green. Alberto Defalco sprints away, and the battle is going to be here for second place because Noah Watt, stuck in the traffic, has got Glenn Van Berlo behind him as they come over the line. Max Wearing is fourth with 9 minutes and change on the clock. They accelerate now over the line. And so down into the Rettifilo chicane. How many more laps are we going to get? Maybe 5, possibly 4 at best. Let's see as they're under braking. Van Berlo defends from Wearing. He's all over the back of Watt. Really good battle now. And they've, of course, not only got to fight amongst themselves, but also they've got to be careful of the traffic.
Correct. It's a tricky situation, and you know you only have a few laps to play the cars you have in hand. Let's see, braking off the second chicane. Everything smooth. They are pushing. They're giving everything they have, which is good. And these onboard cameras, especially with the sound, they give you an idea of how much people are pushing, using the curbs and using every inch of the track and beyond occasionally.
Yeah. So again, the pace, even at the back markers, is impressive because look, Noah Watt still hasn't gone storming through the traffic. Alberto Defalco, though, is escaping up the road. Now Noah Watt, number 2, has to go to the inside line, but he still can't get past. That's number 90, the car of Holger Harmsen, that's being a bit of a cork in the bottle. He can't get past the back marker. And look, they're all queued up behind him. Van Berlo, Wearing, Pulcini, Bash. There's a long, long line. And here they come towards us then. Now, Noah Watt in the green-nosed car goes to the inside line. This should be the opportunity to finally clear at least one of the back markers. Do they all come pouring through? Yes, Van Berlo goes through, Wearing goes through.
Good. So let's see what happens at the braking, because obviously they jeopardize a little bit the entry of the Parabolica, but they seem pretty equal in speed and quite spread. So, well, not really.
That's Pulcini coming up in the outside line in the Oregon entry to try to get past Max Wearing, who in turn wants to get past Glenn Van Berlo, who doesn't know from whom to defend, and he's in the traffic and he hits the back marker. The back marker gets fired up the escape road. 2 into 1 did not go, and it's the slower car that comes off worse there.
Wow.
So the GSM back marker car up the escape road as Alberto Defalco leads by 6 seconds from here. Noah Watt, third is Glenn Van Berlo. Max Wearing is fourth. Pulcini fifth. The order actually didn't change despite all the drama going into the Rettifilo. Now sixth, Carol Bash in the white car, the VS Racing, Vincenzo Sospiri racing car. We know that Bash is quick, and there he is right on the tail as they go now through the Lesmo curves.
It's good with these cars because you can see the braking point by the nose diving down.
Yeah, that's right.
And this gives you really an idea of where they brake and how they brake. Braking, it's quite tricky, even with the ABS, but you know, you can... Oh, this was a pretty aggressive turning in. Yeah, you know, the art of braking is quite important, and you have to position the car and load the front properly in order to have good grip. Let's see the replay.
The back marker tried to turn in, but
fair to say you don't really have a perception of who is on your side because of the way the cars are built, so not easy.
And here, Glenn Van Berlo, I mean, he is desperate to not lose a fraction of a second against the car ahead, so he's going to commit to the line, isn't he?
Can't blame anybody.
No, no.
We are racing, we're not going shopping.
This is true, this is true. We're not here on holiday.
Or they are racing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
We are only talking.
Now, there's a drive-through penalty for a couple of cars that I mentioned earlier on for being short on the pit stop time. Let's keep an eye on Leonardo Pulcini versus Carol Bash right now. Carol Bash running in 6th place there, the first of the 2 VS Racing entries. That number 6 is Matteo Michelotto, next in the queue, 7th overall. Carol Bash leading the Pro-Am contest very effectively. And Noah Watt doing a good job also, hanging on to 2nd place, keeping Glenn Van Berlo behind. And look at this, Alberto Defalco in this 2nd stint. Yes, he's on new tyres, but now that he's been released, he's done an absolute best first sector time. So Defalco is odds on for the race win here. He is not wasting any time at all.
Yeah, exactly. And I was saying it's pointless to talk about lap times of the group of the challengers because they're all. We can see the gap, but lap time of Defalco 47.4 compared to the lap time of the others, which is a low 48. It's significant difference.
And they're all busy battling as well, aren't they, at the moment, because they are not quite tripping over themselves, but Noah Watt has to defend. Glenn Van Berlo is stuck in traffic, so this man is the only driver with any real estate around him. Alberto Defalco has got 2 more laps you might be able to squeeze out of this race as he comes now off the Parabolica up towards the timing line once again then. So the car for Imperiale Racing, solo driver effort, and he's put down a marker really with this pace. He's becoming the man to beat, because with this pace and no co-driver to jeopardise his lap times, he's away and gone. So Noah Watt's second, and the margin 7.7 seconds. That's impressive, given that they were relatively close after the safety car.
Noah Watt 48.1, Van Borlo 48.2, Weering 48.3, and Pulcini 48.7, and Bass 48.8. So,
although Carol Bash, interestingly, look, has just dropped away a little bit. That margin has opened up slightly against Pulcini.
Correct.
Now, this might be Karol Bash doing the right thing for his customer, as it were, Andrei Lewandowski, and winning the class because they're leading in Pro-Am, rather than jeopardising that result by getting involved in an overall battle.
You say that? Yeah, maybe, but I've never met a racing driver who just takes it easy for the sake of winning the class when you can win overall. But probably you're right.
An overall win, certainly more places to be gained on pure pace, but Andrei Lewandowski is the customer, and the Pro-Am title is their main goal. But we'll see. Right now, Karol Bash is doing a good job, helped by that safety car, back into the mix. And as he comes into the Variante Ascari, further down the order there, Andrea Cola and Dan Pell. Now, we've not talked about Dan Pell in this race yet, but he was the driver that got into the back of Defalco yesterday and retired with damage. But here he is in 9th place, keeping out of trouble and learning.
Yes, and he looked really good in practice, so he's definitely a guy to watch for the future races. He was also quite disappointed yesterday for the mistake he did, so he was hard on himself, and I think now he will have to remove some of the shame that he put in himself in order to have a clear mind and take the correct risks that you need to take to do well.
Well, Dan Pell learning fast, getting on with the job, as they're going through is number 65, J.M. Littman. I think it was the British driver J.M. Littman that got caught up with the traffic, wasn't it, down at the first chicane. So J.M. driving his own race and suddenly got rather pounced upon. There's Rafael Gianoni, who comes down to the Ratafilio, now in the lead of the Am Cup. So that's put him ahead of the Claude-Yves Gosselin and Renaud Kuppen's car. And Rafael Gianoni, another experienced Lamborghini driver, has been able to get some traffic between himself and class rivals. Going well. So 1 minute and 16 seconds on the clock, and the race leader Alberto Defalco is 8 seconds to the good as Rafael Gianoni comes towards us. There's that long queue of cars that will get one more lap out of the race here. This is the line from 2nd place back.
Going back to Dan Powell, he produced a 47.6 as the best lap in lap 23, which is a remarkable speed. To confirm what we were saying about him.
Yeah, so he's come into Super Trofeo new this year, learning about the cars. The leader goes out of the Parabolica with about half a minute on the clock, as there is the fight for 2nd, for 3rd, for 4th. Max Weering just ahead of Leonardo Pulcini. Actually, Weering is dropping back from Glenn Van Berlo, but keeping his place. Onto the last lap, then goes Alberto Defalco. And there are class winners, of course, to be decided. Karol Bash, Andrei Lewandowski for Pro-Am, Rafael Gianoni for Am, and the Lamborghini Cup. I don't think we need to concern ourselves with just at the moment. As you see there, the 2nd and 3rd place drivers dive down towards the Retafilio chicane. Glenn Van Berlo just can't quite get close enough to have a go for 2nd place.
Yeah, sometimes the meters are very long, you know.
Yeah.
Pulcini 47.7, wearing 48.0, Bash 47.8, and Pao 48.9.
So the lap times evenly matched, and there you see the effort being put in by Glenn Van Berlo to try to get onto terms with Noah Watt for that second place. But Alberto Defalco up front, away and clear. He has driven absolutely faultlessly here, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%. Very, very good driving, very smooth race, and really, really good, very enjoyable. No problems with the tires in neither way, so everything good.
It's been a calmer race than yesterday, but it's been certainly one with surprises and an impressive drive here, no question about it. From
he's still pushing
Defalco.
hard, Alberto.
Yeah. I mean, even late race, we've seen him be doing best laps. Checkered flag falls to Alberto Defalco, who takes race 2 in the Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe for 2021. That was a 26-lap race, and his best lap came on lap 23, pushing all the way to the end. Second, Noah Watt and Sebastian Balthazar. Third goes to Glenn Van Berlo, bringing home Raul Gutzmann's car. And the classes are going to be won by, in Pro-Am, Karol Bash and Andrei Lewandowski for 6th place overall. That car through after a good drive by both drivers. We await next the AM winner, coming off the Parabolica in a moment. The black car we wait to see of Rafael Gianoni. There it is in the background, and Rafael will be the AM winner, and Hans Fabry in the green Imperiale Racing car number 88, another solo driver in that line of cars coming towards you now. There it is, the green nose car. That is the winner of the Lamborghini Cup. And J.M. Littman busy waving to the marshals to say thank you. Number 8, the Privitello entry, father and son, was given a drive-through for causing the collision, but retired from the race. So now the team manager and drivers are being told to report to the stewards for a little discussion about that incident with Kevin Rossell and Jonathan Cicotto's car. So it's a shame we had that incident, but a very, very good drive by there, Alberto Defalco, who came through to take that somewhat dominant race win. But yeah, I know he's an experienced Lamborghini racer. Alberto has been around Monza many, many times, but not a wheel wrong.
Yeah, not a wheel wrong, but now at least we want to see him sweating out the car. If we see him not sweating, then it's too much. Then there must be something wrong. So right. Alberto, make sure you look well tired, and you look, make sure you look like you have tried really hard, as it is appeared from where we are. Now, a masterpiece of driving. He was on the limit all the time. You could see from the way he was driving.
Alberto Defalco is the winner of race 2 here at Monza. Noah Watt and Sebastian Balthazar second, ahead of Raul Gutzmann and Glenn Van Berlo in 3rd place. Max Weering, yesterday's winner, 4th. 5th, Kevin Gilardoni and Leonardo Puccini, ahead of Karol Bash and Andrzej Lewandowski. 7th, Michael Doerbeker with Mattia Michelotto. 8th, Dan Pell and Eric Meyrink, ahead of Andrea Kola and Dimitri Batsava. 10th, Dan Wells and Oscar Lee. Classes being won by Andrei Lewandowski with Karol Bash. Of course, the Pro Cup won by Alberto Defalco. The AM won by Rafael Gianoni. And Hans Fabry, 21st overall, is the winning driver in the Lamborghini Cup, ahead of Pierre Feligioni and Daniel Baczynski's entry, with Prabhakaran Kumar taking 3rd place. So the drivers will come back towards the Parc Ferme area, top 3 in each class required for scrutineering, and also then the drivers for the presentations to be made as well. But Alberto Defalco just being careful of the traffic arriving before he opens the door, but a really, really impressive job. And
is he sweating? Yeah, he must be sweating.
A little, yeah. Looked pretty modest about that. But makes up for the disappointment of yesterday. Walks over to be congratulated by the team.
Yeah, sometimes certain performances make things look easy, but what he did was remarkable. Remarkable.
So the drivers with their Super Trofeo overalls, part of the Lamborghini branding. Great looking cars, they make a fabulous noise as well. And Lamborghini Squadra Corsa that's put a huge amount of effort into the motorsport program in recent years, not just with Super Trofeo in Europe, not just with all of the Super Trofeos, because of course there's the Middle East Championship that has been run under normal circumstances at the start of the season, but also with the enhanced GT program. And whereas years ago motorsport was almost something that was forgotten about in a sense, now there's this whole department and much more effort put in, and Lamborghini's motorsport program has been a real success story over the last few years. Really, really good to see.
Absolutely, and I'm sure you'll have time to say that on pole position for the GT World Challenge race, there's a Lamborghini.
There's a Lamborghini, indeed, from the FFF racing team. Andrea Caldarelli, Mirko Bortolotti, Marco Mappelli, loyal servants of Lamborghini. So, yeah, there could be more success for Lamborghini before the end of the day. Drivers then out of the cars. And let's try and hear from our race winner, because Alberto Defalco dominates race 2 of the championship, and he is with Gemma Scott.
Alberto, fantastic. Congratulations. You almost made it look easy, but you've just said to me 1 hour was long.
Yeah, 1 hour alone is very long. You must be fit. Anyway, I'm very, very happy about the result, because yesterday we were a little bit unlucky. We finished the race in the first corner. So now I'm very happy for the team, because the car was mega, was very, very fast. I want to thank you, all the sponsors, and first of all, Lamborghini Ginevra for this opportunity. And really, I'm very happy. And now we have to concentrate for the GT3 in 1 month.
Absolutely. We'll let you go and prepare. Thank you, and well done.
Thank you very much.
Alberto Defalco, who's in that GT World Challenge Europe 3-hour race for one of the customer teams. So good job done. And there you see the engineers, their drivers. The drivers in the Parc Fermé area now being ushered towards the presentations. So really good drive by Alberto Defalco, but as he said, it was to do the race on your own, you've got to be fit. But he is a fit guy, professional racing driver, and a former champion in Lamborghini Super Trofeo racing, as well as very, very successful with the brand in GT races. Quick look back at the highlights of the race. From pole position, Alberto Defalco stormed into the race lead on the run down to the Rettifilio chicane. Sebastian Balthazar on the inside line braked very, very, very late and just got away with it. And what could have been a major moment, mercifully, turned out to be nothing to worry about at all. Everybody else wriggled through the chicane. And although he'd been on the outside of the road losing places, to come out of the chicane third was a mighty effort. Others less fortunate early on in the race. This incident catching out the back markers coming out of the Ascari chicane. That was Antoine Bottiroli who had the spin. On track, good battle early doors for the Pro-Am class as the car of Guilembert went through, passing Josef Saruba. Round the outside also then went Michael Doerbeker to put another move on Doerbeker on the run into the Roger chicane, but Doerbeker couldn't get it slowed down in time, went up the escape road, and as a consequence lost position. Into the gravel fell Gerhard Watzinger. The race carried on. That car was moved with the help of the marshals and the snatch vehicle, and the pit window opened, and that of course shuffled the order. When the drivers got back on track, there was another incident as there Crivitello collided with the quicker car of Kevin Rossell that was putting a lap on him. Into the gravel they went, and that did bring out the safety car. The race neutralised, the field bunched up, but it didn't really affect Alberto Defalco, who was still able to pull clear, while Noah Watt was able to hang on to that second place as the cars dived into the chicane. J.M. Littman being given a bit of a hip and shoulder. He couldn't turn in, there just wasn't the room, fired up the escape road, but he survived, as through to take the race win was Alberto Defalco after a very good drive indeed. Not a wheel out of line. Alberto Defalco through for the race win.
Car is clean, windscreen is clean.
Yeah.
He was barely sweating. Gentlemen at home, racing and winning races is not as easy as he made it look.
No, no. But a bittersweet weekend. You know, disappointment yesterday, damage, didn't finish the race. Today, a dominant win.
He was cool when he said, I was a little bit unlucky. A little bit unlucky. It's a very optimistic judgment.
Yeah. Careful with his description. Well, they're the impressive trophies for the drivers across the classes.
Which is, of course, a car looked from above.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a skateboard.
So the
Lamborghini style is, you know, unmissable. And that's not very many brands don't need the logo on the bonnet to be identified, you know. Not very many brands. Lamborghini is one of them.
Yes, that's true. There's a replay of the car at speed, the winning car of Alberto Defalco, storming through for the race win. And he's, as I say, put himself down as the benchmark driver. As the drivers now step forward for the presentations, the overall and pro top three in reverse order. So they're Glenn Van Berlo and Raul Gutzmann take their trophies for third place, go and stand at one end of the podium. Then for second place, there'll be Sebastian Balthazar and Noah Watt. They make their way forward for the Leipzig Motorsport team, one of the stalwart Super Trofeo operations for many, many years. Collect trophy and run to podium. And then the race winner on his own, Alberto Defalco, will make his way up to the top step. And, oh, looks so cool, is he? Forgot his trophy. That's the one you need. So Alberto Defalco arrives, but briefly had to turn back and get the trophy. He's got the regulation Lamborghini green boots on as well to identify him, but he stands on the top step of the podium. Alberto Defalco, winner here at Monza.
By far not the main reason, but one of the reasons why we can't wait for this COVID situation to finish is that the prize giving will be back to normal. You know, you're given a trophy, you shake hand, you can cuddle your teammate and show your happiness.
Yeah, I agree, and especially for some events, Italian Grand Prix, Le Mans, for example, the 24 hours, the crowd encouraged onto the track underneath the podium. The podium at Monza is a special place.
Very emotional, very emotional.
So there we have the winning pro class drivers. And they briefly forget about social distancing to embrace one another for a photograph. Make their way now off the podium. So for the pro drivers, their weekend is done. The class drivers will now make their way onto the podiums. For Pro-Am, for the AMS, the Lamborghini Cup, and again, we've made the point, but everybody has something to aim for within Lamborghini Super Trofeo, which is really good to see.
Absolutely. I like these shots because, you know, they somehow show the solitude for a short time of the circuit. The circuit can breathe a little bit before being attacked by another bunch of hooligans for the next race.
It also shows that old school nature of Monza, the great heritage that it has, you know, with the old buildings around, even though it's a modern facility, as it must be for contemporary GT racing and Formula One, of course, later in the year. Yeah. So in Pro-Am, out come the drivers then, with Dan Wells and Oscar Lee taking third place, with second place going to Andrea Cola and Dimitri Vatsava, and the class win to Karol Bash and Andrei Lewandowski, who step forward now. A puncture yesterday putting them out of the race. They make amends with a race win today. There are the trophies. The winners get not just the Lamborghini trophy, but also one from Pirelli as well. And Andrei Lewandowski, it's a shame in a sense to categorise him as the AM against Karol Bash as the pro, because Andrei Lewandowski is a very quick amateur racer and has done a very, very good job at a pretty high level.
Yeah, there are people who, in each country, they live on the border of the next country, and I think he's on the border
of being an amateur pro. Yeah. He's a very quick driver, businessman racer, but specialises in Lamborghinis, has raced not exclusively but largely in Super Trofeo, occasional GT outings as well, and drove for Poland in the FIA Motorsport Games 2 years ago, was second in fact in the GT element of that.
But the profile of an AM is not only the speed that it can deliver, is also the profile, as you know, you are paying the races by yourself. This is not your job, and this is also part of the profile. So,
but the speed he's got is certainly impressive. There's the amateur drivers now step forward. Cedric Lima and Laurent Geny for third place. We need. Oh dear, confusion on the podium. So much shaking of head there from Cedric Lima. And did he think he was better placed than that? Anyway, there for Second in class, Claude Gosselin and Renaud Coupens. They take their second placed trophies. So something is concerning Cedric Lima and Laurent Gianoni, but Rafael Gianoni takes his winner's trophies. It is very rare you see Rafael without his sunglasses, no matter what the weather. And there he is, shades on, uber cool Italian driver, and he wins the AM Cup at Monza. So, under the masks, all smiles. There with the orange mask, waving to everybody, Claude Gosselin, inveterate racer.
Shades off.
Very briefly, yes, purely to respect the national anthem. Now, there has been some confusion, I think, over third and second, because the graphic suggesting there had been a change there from where the drivers were stood. However, we shall see Rafael Gianoni confirmed as the class winner. The Lamborghini Cup is won by Hans Fabry. He will be the last driver to make his way out onto the podium to receive trophies, and that pretty much will conclude coverage of this second race of Lamborghini Super Trofeo from Monza. Congratulations to Lamborghini in general for bringing together a really good grid of 28 cars for the races this weekend. Some great racing we've had, and Alberto Defalco, today's race winner, in fine style. The story will continue during the course of the season, but for now, from Monza, from Emanuele Pirro and David Addison, is goodbye.